Hey, brothers and sisters, Francis Santa Rose here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of, it's been a while, it's been a while, and I guess I'm just talking to y'all. It, it's been a difficult time for me. Some things have happened in my personal life that kind of threw me for a loop. Actually, I kind of expected it, but, when it happens, you're never really ready. How does this song go? I knew the times will come, but now the times have landed with stinging abrasion. As ready as you seem to be, it's never like you planned it. So, I'm divorced, and just about the time my daughter went off to school, I received papers, so that was interesting. And it was just about the time I finished my last video. I think I finished my last video in like the next week or something like that. I got them. So it distracted me a bit. There's a lot of stuff that I had to take care of. Dove back into my business, yada yada yada. One thing led to another, and I just found myself extremely busy. I thought I was done with the altar of love. Thought I was done when I finished the altar of love. I thought I was done with the ministry. I still kind of do. It's strange because there's some things like I feel like I could teach, but I almost feel like I've done everything. Like there's nothing left to do. I mean, if you go back and watch my videos, I've covered just about everything that needs to be covered. So I didn't feel like compelled to come on and just talk for the sake of hearing myself talk, because I teach. What I do is I teach. So did I have something to say? Did I have something to teach? Because if I didn't have something to teach, then what's the sense? I just shut down my program. It doubled up on me. So I'll just talk. So you'll notice I shaved my mustache. It was by request, so I complied. So as time went on, I began feeling an unusual feeling. I was busy. I got really busy in my life, and I was doing a lot of legal stuff. I don't hire lawyers. I do it myself. So I'm studying cases and case law and doing research and figuring out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it, and strategies, and research and more research. And I got my business and, trying to make time for my daughter when she comes home. And I've just found myself in this busy state. And then I noticed I'm not reading my Bible as much as I used to. And I'm not spending as much time in prayer as I used to. Yeah, I talk to him throughout the whole day. I do. I'm always acknowledging him. But it's not the same as entering into prayer. That's completely different. That's time that needs to be spent. Now, I'm always busy in the ministry, and I'm praying for people. I'm still engaged in my church. I'm one of the prayer partners there. They still give me the tap on the shoulder when somebody needs deliverance. I'm doing all that stuff. So in my mind, I'm keeping up. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But in reality, I was slipping. And then I began to talk to a few friends of mine who felt the same. And then I began to ask around other people who felt the same. They felt like they were drifting away, like they weren't plugged in. They weren't energized like they were before. They weren't on fire like they were before. They had drifted away. And then I began to notice that it was a spiritual battle. And this is kind of like what I do. And the thing about it was I couldn't put a name to it. I couldn't figure it out. So I'm spending some time on it, and I'm really trying to enter in and figure out what am I dealing with, because it's very helpful when you know what you're dealing with. It helps to be able to, because I'm like a laser beam when I do spiritual warfare. I target, and I will bind and loose, and the thing that I'm binding, I loose that which is missing, and I'm really organized about it. It's like war. Paul equates it to war. When you go into battle, you got to have a strategy. You don't just go in haphazardly. You go in with a strategy. And when I do prayer, I go in with a strategy, and I don't know what I'm dealing with. I couldn't figure it out. And because I couldn't figure out what it was, I couldn't name it. If I couldn't name it, I didn't know how to attack it. I'm doing a general binding and loosing, but I'm not seeing any results. And so I'm praying one time. I'm praying in the Spirit. I decided I was going to pray in the Spirit. And I'm praying in the Spirit, and I saw a thick black cloud over everything, everyone. The whole earth is covered with this thick black cloud, and this was this spiritual entity that I was confounded by, that I couldn't name, and I couldn't name it. I'm seeing it. I'm watching it behave. I'm watching it just cover everybody like a blanket. That's the best way I can explain it. It was just like a blanket, like a thick cloud or a blanket that covered everybody. And then I heard the word, "This is the strong delusion," spoken of in 2 Thessalonians 2:9. And as soon as I heard that word, I knew what it was I was dealing with, and I could take authority over it. And I could, I noticed the camera's dancing around a lot over there, so let me see if I can stabilize it some. I don't think that helps any. Oh well, I'll just try not to bump the table. So, which is going to be difficult. So, I knew what I was dealing with then. And then I could pray directed prayer, bind and loose, and take authority over this thing. But I got to tell you, it's unlike anything we've ever dealt with. I don't know who's going through what or what you're going through, but I saw what it was and how it's affecting us. And the thing about it is, it's affecting everybody differently. You got unbelievers, you got believers who are immature Christians, you got people that are more mature, but their faith wavers, and then you got those that are deep in that know and understand, and well, it's affecting each one of us differently. That's what I saw. So if you haven't felt right, if you haven't felt like yourself, if something's been off or different, this is what we're dealing with. It's the strong delusion. So now you know how to name it. You can go after it. You can take authority over it. You can bind it, and whatever it is that you're missing, that's what you want to loose. I wasn't as passionate towards the word as I had been in the past. I wasn't as eager to get in and read and study and pray as I had been in the past. I had become complacent in my spiritual life. So it helped me to pray in that area, to loose that desire again, that need, that want, that drive. And so you see, and I'm back doing a video. So hopefully it worked. But if you felt off, that's why. That's what we're dealing with, because we're at the end. And let's just read what it says here in 2 Thessalonians 2:9. Hold on, let me get over here. It says, "The coming of the lawless one will be accompanied by the working of Satan with every kind of power, sign, and false wonder, and with every wicked deception directed against those who are perishing, because they refused the love of the truth that would have saved them. For this reason, God will send them a powerful delusion, so that they will believe the lie, in order that all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness." So what I saw was it was affecting each one of us differently. Well, let's break it down. He says, with every kind of power. Now, we'll read the whole sentence. There it is. The coming of lawlessness will be accompanied by the working of Satan with every kind of power. That word power means dunamis. It's where we get the word dynamite from. It's a physical power, force, or might, or ability. Okay, he's coming with an ability. God is allowing him this ability to confound us. This is what it did for me. You have to figure out how it's affected you. But how it affected me was he got me busy. And when he got me busy, I got sidetracked. And when I got sidetracked, I got distracted. When I got distracted, I got it was almost like desensitized to the Spirit. And it's funny because I hear stuff, man. I get a word of knowledge. I stop getting them, and I didn't notice that I wasn't getting them. It's funny, and I'd be praying for somebody at church, and I'd get a word for them, but just my general life, I wasn't hearing. I just wasn't hearing. So he was kind of pulling me away from the word and slowly desensitizing me to hearing from the Spirit, so that I wasn't hearing from the Spirit or in the Spirit. And this is an ability that has been given to him. He's been given this ability to do this to us, this force, this might, this ability, this power. All right? And then it says, he says, with every kind of power and sign. Now the word sign is semaion, and it's a sign. It's typically a miracle, and it means to conform, to corroborate, or authenticate. So it kind of proves this power that he's been given. It's the proof behind it. It's the authentication or corroboration of it. And it says every kind of power, sign, and false wonder. And that word is terasa. And it's a miraculous wonder. It's a miracle done to, and the purpose of this is to elicit a reaction from the people who are witnessing it. All right, and a lot of this hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen real soon. These powers have been given to Satan to be able to do this, to get reaction from the people, from the general public, and it's an extraordinary event. With a supernatural effect, to leave an impact on everybody who witnesses it. Oh, is my... Ta-da! Oh, my battery almost died on me. That would have been terrible, because if it dies, I would have had to start over. And I want to start over, because I'm having difficult enough time motivating as it is. All right. It says, and every wicked... Where is it? We'll go up to it again. It says, with every kind of power, sign, and false wonder, and with every wicked deception. And that wicked comes from the word erikia, and it means unrighteousness. And that's what is contrary to God's righteous judgment, to what he approves. It's the opposite of that. It's unrighteousness. It's sin. It's wicked kind of sin. It's sin with an evil intent. It's the kind of sin that is disgusting to God. And then he goes on to say, he says, with every kind of power, sign, and false wonder, with every wicked deception directed against those who are perishing. All right. The deception is apathy, leaving a false impression made to deceive or to cheat, directed against those who are perishing, but there will be collateral damage for those who are unaware. So this is all directed at them, but it's having collateral damage on us because we're here. So what he was showing me was, I want you to be aware of this, so that you don't slide back into that trap. So that's what this message is all about, is being aware of this strong delusion that is starting to come down in the earth and cover the earth like a blanket. I mean, look at what's going on in politics. The left and right are so far apart. They're so insane. The lies that the Democrats are spewing are so ridiculous. What they did to that Kavanaugh guy, I mean, hey, there was no proof, that there was none of the stories corroborated. It was a complete fabrication, a complete lie. Everything they do is just lie, 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 lie. And, what does the Bible say? It talks about that. When you call good evil and evil good, well, that's exactly what they're doing. And it's almost a head scratcher. Like, they're so ridiculous about it. Why? Because they're completely delusional. Excuse me. They're delusional. And that's this thing that's come upon them. But because we're in this world, it's going to affect us. And unless we're aware of what it is, it kind of comes over us, and it has this other collateral damage or residual effect on us, dulling our senses, dulling our minds, getting us busy, dragging us off into things that get us out of the Word, get us out of the Spirit. So this is a warning to y'all to hunker down, get back in your Word, read, study, pray. Read, study, pray. Don't get distracted. Don't get sidetracked. All right. He says, because they refused the love of the truth that would have saved them. Now, the term refused the love, that word love means agape. And that's the Greek word that they use. And that means, what he's saying is here, they did not prefer God's righteous judgments, but they chose instead the unrighteousness of the world. See, they have a choice. They can choose God's righteous judgment, or they can choose the world. But that's what that word agape means. It's what they prefer. We have a word love, and we use the word love for a variety of things. But in the Greek, they have like 10 different words for the word love. And this particular word is agape, and it means to prefer something. We could say, I love pizza. Well, I love pizza, but I'm not going to marry a pizza. And I love my daughter. I like her more than I like pizza. I love pizza, but I love my daughter, so it's different. And then somebody who has a spouse, they love their spouse. That's at the next level too. Look, I love my kids, but I love my spouse. And then I love Jesus, which should be the greatest love of all. So there's different levels of love, right? And this one, agape, is... sorry about that. It's the carnival thing today. Is to prefer. It means to prefer, because they refused the truth. They refused to prefer the truth that would have saved them. Instead, they preferred the lie, the unrighteousness, the sin, the ungodliness. That's what they prefer. They prefer to act that way. They had a choice. They chose that over good. And that's what that verse is saying when he says, because they refused the love of the truth that would have saved them. All right? So when we go down to the next part, it says they refused the love of the truth. The word truth is aletheia. And they refused to prefer God's righteous moral standard. That's what the truth is. It's God's moral standard. They're rejecting God's moral standard. And that moral standard is what would have saved them. And it says they refused the love of the truth that would have saved them. Well, that word saved is sozo. And that's a Greek word that means, principally it's used for God rescuing believers from hell. It means salvation. So this refusal of the truth, refusal of the love of the truth, would have saved them, would have kept them from going to hell. But they refused that. They rejected that. Okay? They preferred the lust of the flesh. They preferred the world over the righteousness of God. And I think God was bringing this to my attention here because of where I felt like I was going that it would be real, I'm not saying that I was getting into a place where I was unsaved. I don't believe that. But what I felt like is somebody who was unaware could have kept going and going and going and going down that path and started making those unrighteous decisions and gone right off the end. Right off the end. Because that's what he's saying here. That they would have refused the truth, the love of the truth, the preference of the righteousness of God that would have saved them, and they chose the unrighteousness, the sin of the world that doesn't save them, and they go to hell. He says, for this reason, God will send them a powerful delusion, because they consciously chose the unrighteousness over the truth. God is allowing this strong delusion at this time so they would believe the lie. Now, the spirit of delusion, I gotta tell you, it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. When I saw it, I could see that it was given so much ability. It was given the ability to deceive even the elect. And it was, I gotta tell you, it was something, I was watching this thing and I was going, wow, had me fooled. It's more powerful than anything we've been dealing with up to now. And it's interesting because at first I didn't really notice anything at all. I just got busy, and too busy to spend time reading, and for only for very short, quick prayers, and it just grew and grew and grew and got worse. Worse and worse. Look at that. Satan's not enjoying me. He's throwing books at me. I got books flying off the shelf at me. All right. Really? Interesting. A book just flew off the shelf. All right. I bind you, Satan, in the name of Jesus. Get out of my house. This is my house, and you can't stay in the name of Jesus. All right. So this spirit of delusion is a lot more powerful than anything we've dealt with up to now. And because it was so subtle. The way it worked was just so subtle and so cunning and so deceptive, and it just desensitized me. So this thing lasted for me for about 2 weeks. And 2 months is pretty much since the last time I did a video. So I just wanted to warn everybody, if you're not feeling yourself, the strong delusion is here. It's affecting us differently than it's affecting the world, obviously. For us, it's more subtle. But be aware, be on guard. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Put on the full armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, and spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand in the evil day. This is it. This is the evil day, y'all. This is it. And having done all, stand. All right, brothers and sisters, I'm at 23 minutes. I'm going to cut it short today. Keep your eye out for that strong delusion. It's on the prowl. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.